Good morning, everyone. This is Nadex Morning Analysis, where we look at hotspots in the markets, and we are going to take a look at a couple potential spots today. My name is Todd Rich. I'm with Nadex. With me is my good friend Brian Caprice from Keep Trading Simple. Before Brian and I jump over to looking at some hotspots today, I do need to share that trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for everyone, that any trading decisions you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. And lastly, this is an educational session. Please do not construe anything Brian or I say today as a buy or sell recommendation. We are doing this for your education purposes. So, Brian, I'm actually going to flip your screen over, and maybe you could bring up that headline. I'll talk briefly about this, and then I'll let you do some analysis on some charts. But we've been talking about the Reddit traders and how they've been impacting this market, how there's been some dislocations we've all been following in the news. And you can see from the Bloomberg headline right now that these trades are starting to crumble. And it's including the three that we've mentioned. The GameStop is the stock's back down around 130. AMC is below 10. I mean, there's still a long way for those to go down. But silver, where we were talking, was silver was getting wrapped up in this. Silver's not exactly plunging like they are. I mean, they're down 40, 50%. Silver has popped 10% the past couple days, even more. I think it got up to 15% yesterday. This morning,
I think I saw like 11 yesterday, and then it's down all day.
Yeah, and today it's down about 5%. But you can see how these Reddit traders certainly can bring volatility to the markets. I love having more people in the markets. I think it's great. But in the end, when these games end, there are going to be folks who are caught holding the bag. And for those late comers or people who really hang on, I feel a little badly, but I mean, hopefully they made money, on the upside and just giving some of it back. But let's go ahead and take a quick peek over at silver. I'm going to let you kind of go through.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, my comments are in this. You guys have known, the last, 2-3 days we mentioned this. I've been more bearish or more negative minded about the whole silver thing. I thought it was ridiculous, but if people wanted to get into the markets, so be it. Most of the time, and this is, again, for anybody that is new to the markets or you're just seeing this right now, this is very, very much like the penny stock realm. Okay. Most of the time when you hear about a penny stock, it's already too late. Kind of the same scenario here. Oh, these things are going to go. We're going to drive these things higher. We're going to crush Wall Street. Wall Street will be gone by Friday. And none of those things are necessarily the case. And it's just not GameStop, AMC, and silver. And again, I'll go into the chart as well. But the other name that we heard with this was a cryptocurrency. And again, I'm not a trader, but look at this, down 17% already, because everybody knows that's it. It's going to go to, 10,000, it's whatever what they said, $1 million. But it's kind of one of those things. On a technical level, these two yellow boxes are when we talked the last 2 days. And both days I've been pretty negative about it. Yesterday, 2 days ago, obviously dropped the last week. Yesterday, we had a level set up here, and you can see I'm one of the big guys that talks about those short duration binaries. What we have seen in this is a rally in the European session and then a reversal. And this is something that I talk about both for currencies, but also the indices and also the commodities. We've seen it in oil a lot. Rally in the, let me give my little cursor, my makeshift cursor here, right? There we go. Rally in the European session, pullback in the US session. Rally in the European session, pull back in the ocean, right? And again, this one is just continuing to fall as this trade is pretty much over at this point. Now, these short duration binaries, we had that nice little topping put in last night. And again, it was very easy to see these descending wicks here, some basing, a drop, a test of that level. And again, this box right is marked off right at 8:30. Actually, here is the 9 o'clock, 9:15 when we started the talk. As you guys can see, we had a drop of about $1.80. Jinjin is here today. $1.80 in an hour and 10 minutes? So again, had you been trading one of these short duration binaries in this one provided amazing opportunity. Now where it's dropping right now, we are in a level where we saw a gap. So let me bring my cursor back around. You can see there was a gap here, and there's typically buyers sitting around gaps. There's a reason why there was a big imbalance in price. So is there, is this going to be a huge reversal? Probably not, but again, it may be a little bit of an opportunity for a bounce today. This kind of psychological ride for traders, it's kind of like, you have it up here, like, I don't know, if it goes lower, I'll buy more, I'll buy more, I'll buy more. But people are starting to get out of a trade, trying to sell their positions. A lot of times there may be another smaller resurgence. So, there could be a potential bounce here. I wouldn't be, again, I'm not saying it's going to 50 or 100 or 1,000 or whatever they said that it was go to. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that there may be a shorter term opportunity here. All right. I did mention yesterday that gold was not going higher, right? Gold was not going higher, but silver was. That was a big sign that when silver finally flipped, gold would go down. And again, I'm going to flip over to gold.
Yeah,
you guys can see here. Yeah. You can see right here. There is gold's reaction. And again, when I mentioned it yesterday, as soon as it flipped, look for it to move a whole heck of a lot faster, right? And again, there was a small trade. Now, I'm going to bring this back up to the 4-hour level, just so you guys can get a kind of a bird's eye view from this one. But the 1830 level is one we've obviously mentioned a lot. As you can see, we drove right into there very, very fast. It's kind of a similar setup. Now, gold, I don't, like I said, there's no real big news that can stimulate this to go higher. A lot of this is dealing with, what we saw with this kind of the silver fallout. I do think there's probably a balance here, but I wouldn't be trading on the larger time frames. What I would do is I'd probably dial in and, again, drop into one of these like very, very smaller time frames to be able to see if, again, we've had a balance, we've got a pullback. This may be one of those Harry Potter kind of confirmation entries. And interestingly enough, there happens to be, again, if you're using this 1831 area as a potential turning point, there is a knockout with a floor down here at 1825 or 1824.
I'm going to bring that up, and you can keep talking, and I'll just be able to show it.
Yeah, so technical basis, we have seen this kind of channeling sideways. Am I calling for 1875 today? No, probably not. But I do know that there is talk of another Corona stimulus. They're talking about. Actually, it was on Bloomberg. We just saw it a second ago that it may be 100% pure debt, but they can force anything through. So there may be some news today, but again, after such a big rally and price down, buyers have stepped in lower. There could be a potential long here.
Yeah. So right, I think the assessment there with gold, as it did kind of ride slightly along with silver, but it really did not move as silver did. But gold has actually been following a bit of the technicals. We've been waiting for the stimulus. There's talks now, I know that we're looking for stimulus to drive inflation, talks of a $1.9 trillion number. Now it looks like it's going to be materially less than that, but it's going to reach, hopefully, a bipartisan deal. I'm not certain. We're all still waiting to see how this manifests itself.
News so far says no, but we'll see how it turns out.
I think they were trying.
Signed, right?
I know they met yesterday, and I know that they're doing best efforts. At least we
that was the Bloomberg headline. They said despite a Virgil meeting, which is great. You gotta love hearing that one. It says Biden's stimulus may be Democrat only, despite a cordial GOP meeting yesterday. So once it's signed, then we'll know. Until that time, we have no idea, right?
In the meantime, we've got these levels. There are these levels. I've got it on here. We've seen buyers step in around 1830 in gold, and again, we watched that happen. As gold sold off, as soon as it got right into this range, we immediately got a candle up. Although it's coming back down, we've got that 1870-ish range up above, and I kind of like your idea. Let's watch what happens to gold today. But if we see this come back, we might see that touch it, come back up.
It's that confirmation entry. A lot of it's going to depend on the open too.
Right.
Because people see gold massively down in the overnight, and they're like, "Whoa! It's been going down. I need to get into. They need to start shorting." That kind of retail trader mentality that they need to jump on. Yep. And again, that's one of the worst things that you can do is buy after a big rally in price, or GameStop, right? You bought it up $100, right? Because after it had a huge push higher, or vice versa, you sell it after it's had a big push to the downside.
Definitely something to be keeping an eye on here this morning. As Brian mentioned, there's some, there's a knockout, and there's some other knockouts in here too that if you wanted to do it in a limited risk, limited reward way, looking for a rebound. Again, you don't have to hang on to it. You don't have to wait until the end of the week. This settles on Friday. You can catch a short-term move. The other way, as Brian mentioned, I'm going to go to the short-term. Let's go to commodities. Let's go to gold. Here's the 10 a.m. This has got another hour to go. You can catch the open and see what happens. Remember, these things are all these binaries all are going to go to 0 or 100. So if there's a move on the open, there might be an opportunity to either sell ones where you simply don't think it's going to make it through it, or buy ones because you're looking for it to continue to go higher.
And I would use the 9 to 11 if you guys are going to go towards the binary, the 9 to 11. You got to hit that refresh button there.
So, hey, thank you.
My one change I want is I want an auto refresh.
We got the refresh. You know what? That just clicked on when we started. So clearly had
so now we have those in there, and again, they're going to give you a little bit more time. Unfortunately, the 8 to 10, it gives you a half hour of movement, but again, there may be a slight delay in the buys or shorts coming in real quick. So I tend to like a little bit more on that one.
There you
9
go.
to 11 is my.
So yeah, and by the way, that's a lesson in that refresh button. Which I kind of like. It's nice to be able to have that and quickly do that. All right, I know that we're going to in 3 hours. There's going to be a full analysis session. It's Tuesday. There's a full-blown analysis on all the markets.
Yep.
I don't want to go into a large diatribe this morning. I think there's one other market we want to look at.
There's one other thing that it may give us a potential opportunity right now in the Aussie. The last 2 days and even last week, I've told you guys that the best trades that have been occurring the last really 2 months have been nighttime trades. Everybody's always looking for additional trading opportunities. And I mentioned, listen, Australia's an amazing time to trade. Maybe you know nothing about currencies, but a chart is a chart is a chart. Last night, again, if you use these, no, not that one. Where is it? The Bloomberg tab. It's very, very easy to see when there's going to be news. And here, I'll blow this up just a little bit more so you guys can see it. Last night between 10 and 10:30, last night at 10:30, we knew that the Australian Central Bank was going to talk. We didn't expect a drop, but the language is what we're looking for. Things like recovery. What does recovery look like? Is it going to be long? Is it going to be short? We know that also locked down an entire province. So here's the trading opportunity that existed. Let me give you I got to make my cursor. Hold on. There we go. This here, if you guys can see it, this was 10 o'clock last night, right before the RBA spoke. Okay, this orange line, and yes, this is a weird orange color, right? This just happens to be a knockout. Okay, as you guys can see, I'll blow this up a little bit bigger. As you guys can see, we had a zone of sellers, right? We had seen sellers in the past. They come in before. Here was news in an area of sellers, a very small risk. And again, as you guys can see, went well past its 1 to 3, well past its 1 to 5, and it's now actually running into a 4-hour zone. But how about that as far as using a knockout in the overnight to run to the side? And again, you can set your profit targets inside of there, so it'd be easy enough to grab. But again, nighttime trading, when there's a news release, combined with an area of supplier demand, low risk, great little trade setups. Now, the area that I'm talking about that it's bouncing off of is right here at that 75.80. It's got to go just a little bit farther. As you can see, we're kind of approaching it right here. I would say if we can get down to 75.77, a little bit more of a push, look for a confirmation bounce, but that definitely could turn us back up today as the Aussie gains some strength and we have some dollar weakness.
Yep.
Dollar weakness is going to be again, strong in the overnight, weak during the day.
And we've been seeing that repeatedly in these currency markets where you've seen a direction in the overnight hours and a reversal in the U.S. hours. Great lesson, something to keep an eye on today. Look at that Aussie dollar with that, let's just call it around 75.80 floor. If you're short, you're looking to probably take it off. If you took the trade last night, and maybe a reversal here today where you get a little bit of a bounce in the U.S. hours. And
this was a knockout, guys, that I drew. There were other things here as well. There was binaries in here that you could have traded. Again, you guys can see just the hourly candle itself was about 30 pips. If you combine the two, it's about 45. So looked at those 2-hour binaries. Again, if you're not doing your homework, you're not looking at the contract specifications, go see what the strike width is at 10 p.m. at night for something as big as RBA kind of monetary policy. It moved quite a bit of binary strike prices to the downside. And again, binary of sellers, short strike width binaries at that time. There you go, guys. You can get a trade before you go to bed.
Yeah, goes right through several of those levels as well. All right, we are going to be back in 2 hours and
3 hours.
Yeah, just shy of 3 hours. 2 hours and 45 minutes. If you haven't registered for today's webinar, you can do so on the Nadex website. You go to Nadex Learning Webinars, and there's going to be a full analysis of all the different markets. With that, You got the open coming in 15 minutes, so you're set up to try to catch one of these moves on the open. Keep an eye on gold. Keep an eye on the Aussie dollar, and silver. Grab your bucket of popcorn and let's see what's going to happen. You got any questions or need any help from Nadex, please email us, customerservice@nadex.com. You got any questions for Brian? Support at keeptradingsimple.com. And I love that Jen quietly snuck in there on us.
She does. Yeah, she's half asleep. Yep.
You got any questions for Jen? You can catch her there as well. With that, want to wish everyone good luck in the markets today. Hopefully, we'll catch you back in a few hours. And Brian and I will be back tomorrow morning. Thanks.